People, it's Conversations with Kobe. I'm back. I'm here doing our thing. I sounds like we in the bowling alley. I don't know what that was, but it's all good. Listen, I've been gone. I hurt my back a little bit. I'll tell you about that later. I was trying to do something I wasn't supposed to do and hurt myself. I was laid up a little bit, but now I'm back. Life is strange, and I wanted, like, the school year is out. I want to give a crazy shout out to all my teacher peoples, all my administrators, and also the kids. For this last year and a half, it's been crazy, but everybody endured, and everybody's still here, and we're gonna come back again to have a beautiful year. And what I'm talking about today, and I want everybody to remember that now that we're coming together physically, let's not stop connecting. Through that time, people were connecting in beautiful ways. You got verses came about. You got DJ D Nice in the beginning had it popping. And we were connecting in so many beautiful ways as people. Let's not stop connecting because we're physically out in the streets. Let's continue to physically connect and to socially connect because I think it's beautiful. And one thing I want you to always remember is laughter is the medicine of the soul. And that brings me to my man today. I got my brother in here. He's a comedian. He's been all over the world and he's extremely funny. But we're going to talk about his motivation, his grind, and work ethic, and how comedy has changed for him. So I'm going to bring in my brother, Ty Breakout Jamison. What's up, my brother?
Oh, Cole, how you feeling, baby?
Oh, I'm beautiful, man. I'm beautiful.
Oh man, it's my pleasure to be here, brother.
So tell the audience doesn't know you like I know you, but I want
Okay.
you to tell the audience a little bit about you and what you do and who you are.
Um, I'm a father. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there. Five
Thank
big kids. My kids are big. I've been around a minute. I've been doing comedy for coming up on almost 18 years. Yeah, 18 years since I started, when I first started in the game. And I like to teach school too. I substitute teach a lot of times. I've been in and out of school. So a lot of, you know what I mean? And I enjoy a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. We'll talk about all the time.
you.
Except for jet ski. Don't ask me about jet skiing because
Well, I ain't doing that either.
yeah, that wasn't
I
too
feel
good
like
for
I'll
me.
fall off. But so we're gonna get into it. You're a comedian,
Yeah.
right? Comedian is been a unique hustle, especially now. But I want to go back and understand how you even got into comedy.
I got into comedy because, I can remember back being a kid. I'm gonna start there. I remember going back being a kid and being a jokester when I was a kid and hanging around and like I was a so-so athlete. I wasn't great, the best athlete, but I still we were hung all together and I was always the jokester. And then when I got grown and then I was working different places, I used to work at St. Francis when I was a kid, when I was a young guy, and I used to make the doctors laugh and make all these people laugh at different times during the day, whatever the hot joke was or something on the news or something I could joke about. And they told me to go take it to the stage. They was like, you need to take that stuff to the stage. So that kind of inspired me back then when I was younger. But I didn't go for it yet. I didn't go for it then. I was a little bit scared of that. And then, watching all favorite comedians and Def Jam and all that kind of stuff, that kind of inspired me. But I like the whole range of comedy. And I also say this: when I was a kid, my dad used to work the middle shift. He worked like a 3 to 11 shift, and
Mm-hmm.
get home maybe about 11:30, basically. So when I used to sit up when I was a little kid, wait for him to get home, and Johnny Carson would come on. He let me sit up with him for like, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then I'd have to go to bed. But I remember watching Johnny Carson, all the comedians coming on there and stuff, and I used to love seeing Bill Cosby and George Carlin and all these guys coming on there. It used to be great. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's so there's some other parts of that too. Like, I know you're funny, but you got a funny family. How is it to be like in a funny family? Like, how does that enhance your comedy, or how does that play into what you do when you're acting when you're in the show?
Well, it gives you of course it gives you a funny spirit. It also gives you funny stories. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
it was, always was hilarity going on, and it could just be a piece of ham and it's funny. Something about and that lasts forever in the family, that piece of ham. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
always great, man. My cousin funny with everybody. My mom's always sharp. She had a deadpan wit. You know what I'm saying? She had a deadpan. She would say stuff like, "Boy, you know how your mom let you out the door like you're going to go across the park or something." And
Uh-huh.
so you're supposed to look both ways, right? And my mom
Uh-huh.
some shit like, "Yeah, if you run out in that street, I'm gonna kill you." I used to be, whoa, wait a minute. But
Because you already gonna be dead.
yeah, I'm like, I'm just gonna lose. I think I'm gonna stay in the house. I'm just gonna stay in the house, man. I'm gonna sit on the steps.
So
You
as
know,
you progressed and started to get into it, what kind of things did you have to like overcome?
well, your nerves at first. Yeah, of course, your nerves. Um, so some people, let me tell you something right now. Some people graced with just can go up there and just casually just talk. And that's the goal. You want to talk to everybody like you talking to your folks. Like you sitting in the basement talking to your homies. That's how you want to feel up on that stage. And that's what the crowd. So over time, the crowd, that's what you wind up embracing. The crowd is like, that's your folks. And you talking to them. You got something to say. You know what I mean? And you just
Mm-hmm.
are funny, and then your experience is your experience. So, and that's what you sharing. I mean, stuff that's relevant between you, and then stuff that's that's your own personal thing. So that's what makes it fun. Um, like I talk about right now about how my knees just kick out on me sometimes. They just I don't know about you, Cole. You just be you just do some old hey, you know,
I just told you about
and
my back.
yeah, you just saying you back. See, your back is. You know what I mean? Your back was probably telling you a while ago, like, Cole, like, chill. You probably did something real slick a couple of weeks ago, and your back was like, hey, I don't know if you want to do that again, homie. Like, oh man, it's got to stretch. You know,
Yeah, and you
you
don't
tell you see
listen.
that? It's got to stretch. Nah, when you over 40,
Yeah,
run out.
the check engine light comes on.
Yeah, when you over 40, the warranty running out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so we were talking in the back about like you overcoming your set, how comedy evolved and how your comedy evolved, like how you started and it was kind of rigid and how you made it fluid. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Um, Yeah, well, you taught to say like when I first went up to the comic strip live when I was a kid, when I was a young boy, not a kid, but just a young boy, and Judy Gold was the host, and Judy Gold was funny, legendary kind of New York comic, and she told me I was working with something. I had probably a good like maybe 3 or 4 minutes up there, and I did okay. And she was like, all right, you working with something, keep working with it. She said, you gotta learn how to set them up, knock them down. And what they mean by that is you can get up there and you might be a funny person, but you can get up there and ramble. You know what I mean? You can just ramble,
Mhm.
no rhythm to it. You just talking, and the audience is like, what the hell is he talking about? So they tell you to set them up, knock them down. You have to take the audience somewhere and then drop them off. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So and that's one of the first things you learn in the game. And then they tell you that once you get to that point, you need to know that stuff. Like they say, the back of your hand. You need to know it like the back of your hand. So you can always present a funny ass 5 minutes.
Mhm.
That's where it starts, right there. And then you got to go there, and then you just get on the stage as much as you can.
So we were talking about how it evolved. Like we were saying how comedy's different in the last 5 or 6 years than it was for you and how it's been changing. How has that been changing or evolving?
What's rocking out as it progressed now, the way we did it, say like 6, 7 years ago, it could be considered sort of hacky now. Hack. It's like you saying jokes. That's how you don't want to, it's not because you write them. So you write the stuff and then you
Mm.
write it has a rhythm and you know that this leads to this. That's what you know. But then when you present it, you don't want to say it like it's a you don't want that kind of flow. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so, but now listen, that doesn't mean throw out those jokes. What that means is you remix them in a way, you present them a different way. So now it's more kind of conversational when you're talking. When you're talking to the audience now, it's like you're having a conversation with the audience, and and you're bringing something delightful to the people, and that's what
So
you do.
okay. So as you were a comedian, as you became a comedian, what were your motivations to keep going? Because I know there were some bad times, some rough times in between there, hard, like what was your motivation, your inspiration?
The one thing is that the joy of it. You know what I mean? Just having fun. Listen, man, you have a badass day, and hitting that stage can, like, you know what I mean, shake out some of those wrinkles.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about, I remember my son. Well, I was scared to death. And listen, it's real. In one way, it's not funny, but now I remember my son. He said I could keep him cool with. He would eat a piece of bread. You know, how you give kids crackers and stuff like that, but you could just give him a slice of bread. He was cool with that. He would just be like, bam, he'd munch on that. And one time I left him out back, I gave him a piece of bread. I went in the house for a second in the backyard and came back out, and he was dipping the bread in frisbee water. You know, the water in the frisbee where it's like mosquito larvae and shit like that in there. And he was like it was gravy. It was like he was terrible. I was like, I had dysentery. I was scared to death, yo. And I remember the mom came and she was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I was like, you know how you don't want to be. I had this piece of bread, but he was dipping it in the mosquito gravy. That's basically what it was. And so, stuff like that left me in the lurch, and that helps. I remember I took that to the stage because I just had to talk about it because it was heavy. Because really cold. I'm serious, man. I thought I had to take him to the hospital. It's gonna be like, okay, so what's going on at the house? You don't know what he's ingested. We're sending
Yeah.
the social service over there, maybe your house. You know how they put that? I was thinking they was gonna put the paper up on the house where it says this place is not livable, like that. And so then when you get to talk about that just I remember that was like it lifted the weight of it. Because I was scared, man. That shit scared me. But but then like you was asking about the progression of it, it is a conversation, but you still have to have material. And the best thing is because like right now what's going on is you got this phenomenon with the Instagram fund. So you got a lot of it's like large on Instagram because they got videos and they got content and they're funny and it's stuff like that. But on Instagram, it's sort of manipulated, right? The narrative and the jokes are manipulated. You see those edits, you know how they say in this edit, and then they say something funny and it's chopped, and that makes you laugh because the flow of it is funny. You're like, yeah, that's right. But see, they can't necessarily present that on stage because that's not how it works when you're live. So you have people who have comedy shows or comedy clubs, and they'll book these guys because the number one rule with comedy clubs and stuff is getting asses in the seats. They want to building. And if you're an Instagram guy, you can bring people in the building because they follow you. So, but there's only a few people who really kicking ass with that are actual comedians. Like Cleon was a guy who was already a comedian. A lot of people don't know that. They think he's funny from Instagram. He was already funny. He was already a stand-up. So the Instagram just enhanced his game. So now when you book him, you get the real stuff. So, and that's what a lot of stuff is going on in the game right now. But when you standing up there, man, people paying you, and you gotta talk to folks for like 45 minutes or something, you had something to talk about.
Yeah, you better have something to talk about.
Yeah, you better have something to talk about, man.
So now we talking about the game. It takes an immense hustle. How was that? Like that hustle to keep getting booked and to get shows and to keep your career going. Like talk about that a little bit. Because now to be a real not to be a real comedian, but to be a working comedian, that's a different kind of hustle.
That is a different kind of hustle. No guarantees in it, and nobody gonna give you nothing. But you just work hard. You'll get what you get. You know what I mean? It's just all your level of work. But you do have to constantly keep stepping up your grind. And and there's a lot of great comedians out here, man. Let me tell you something. Self-taught. when you're in the comedy game, you basically self-taught businessman. You promote, you handle books, you handle money, you handle bookings and all kinds of stuff. So ultimately you come out being sort of a businessman if you work at it like that, especially in urban comedy, because urban comedy presents a different part of the game. Because my folks are funny by nature. Black folks are funny by nature. You know what I'm saying? We have
Mm-hmm.
mom, aunt, uncle, dad, brother who's hilarious. So when black folk come out, they want to see the next level. You see what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
demands that you keep working hard on your thing, and then you stay in the gravity of everybody who's killing it. It's a lot of love in the game. So you want to be, and all comedians embrace each other. So you would be. That's the thing. You stay in the gravity of the game, and your game will just keep growing. But a heavy comedian told me one time. He said, "Listen." Because I was boo-hooing one time about like, man, because you see everybody moving up in different paces. So,
Mm-hmm.
man, I should do this, or you get that. You can get that in your head. All comedians and even just entertainment period, show business period. You say, I should be doing this. But you know what they tell you? They say your time is your time. Their time is their time. Your time is your time. So when it hits, you just be ready and just make sure you sharp.
So, well, like you got a strong work ethic. I know you always working. We know you always practicing and trying to round out your game. Where did you get your work ethic from?
Oh man, my folks, man. You know what, man? I feel like I ain't working hard enough. A lot of times, you got to keep that in your head. I'm not working hard enough. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to like beat yourself in the head, but you want to feel like, listen, I got to keep going because you see the hustle get heavier. And I always think about Will Smith saying, "Don't let them out hustle you." So you keep that in your mind. And then my mom was somebody who was by my pop too, because my pop's worked. He was a post office guy, mechanic, and he worked on houses and shit at the same time. Doing that, boom, boom, boom. So
Mm-hmm.
my folks work. They really busted it. So and that and in a lot of ways, that's what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
that thing that they did, because they didn't always be like show business per se. Like, are you serious? But show business is like painting. You know what I mean? Like you just like, you ain't gonna make no money painting, bro. They till you did. That's when they like, my son's a great artist, so I ain't gonna mess with him. Just all right, you know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
you just work hard. You just gotta keep at it, and then you hit these lulls and these highs and these lows. So and then that builds you up too, because stuff can, just like this summer, this past year, and what came creative out of this year. I remember the lady Barbara on Shark Tank, and she said that the creative people is who are going to survive this situation that we just been going through over this past like year and a half or so. She said the creative.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that's good for comedy, I'm gonna say this year, is the fact that during the summer, comedy usually take a dip. It usually takes a decrease during the cold months, during the winter, fall. This whole little calendar to through Mother's Day, comedy's popping and on a regular basis per se. Unless you're somebody who works the nightclub, the comedy clubs all around the country, that's a different. You good, but on a lot of freestyle comedy and what you're doing is it takes a dip during the summer, it slows down a little bit. And because people vacation, nobody's coming inside and all this kind of stuff, people doing stuff. So it's not the same. Whereas last year, since people couldn't be inside, they did a lot of shows outside. I did 27 shows outside where it was in parking lots of the bar. Or, you know what I mean? It was presented outside the bar, used the park. They got real creative with it. And they had out, and it was an outdoor venue. Stages in the park and stuff like that. So, and now that's translating this summer.
Mm-hmm.
I would be doing crab feasts and stuff like that and private events and a lot of stuff like that, and not these one-nighters, what they call them. But now, it's all kind of outdoor events, and they're like, bam, and we're having it in the tent, and that's keeping the game going. And that's a pretty dope thing right now. I'm gonna tell you that. As
Wow. So COVID changed a lot for you. It
COVID
changed the
changed a
game
lot.
a
Oh,
lot.
and no, and people was really getting paid. Like I didn't see none of that money, but that Zoom was kicking ass. I didn't see much of it myself. Just
So hold up, they was having comedy shows on Zoom.
just in case I had to put that in there. Disclaimer. Just in case is watching this. But the Zoom, yeah, oh yeah, the Zoom show was kicking ass. And listen, that was any day of the week. That wasn't even.
Wow.
They call somebody hit you up. Hey, you want to do a Zoom show tomorrow night? Yeah, yeah. And these are, it was beautiful. The one dude out on the West Coast had, I guess, they work for people who basically own different properties like apartments and things, right? And this he presented, since everybody was locked in, he was like, hey, you can click in $5 into the comedy show while y'all locked in and watch it on your laptop. And we got like 5 comics, and it would be just people, all these people on the stream watching, and he sold it and paid out nice money. I was like, man, that was brilliant. And he had these are apartment complexes and stuff that he had a locked in, and man, that was cool. Book for shit like that. That was actually, you know what I mean? Just cash out, a couple dollars.
That's nice. And that's ingenious. Like to think about doing it that way.
Yeah.
Who my friend one of my friends on is asking a question. He says, what comedian would you love to work with or would be starstruck by?
Oh man, starstruck. Starstruck, I would be probably, you always feel like you want to be yourself. Like, I'm just be straight and just be like, hey, bro, like we family or something. But like Eddie Murphy or something, I'll be like, hey, Mr. Murphy. I mean, how you doing, sir? I'm you know what I mean? Eddie Murphy might get me like that, man. He's sort of a king, you know what I mean? He's stratosphere. Same thing, probably Chappelle, man. Chappelle is just like iconic type of guy, especially especially his comedy. It makes him sort of like a almost historical figure, basically. He's in. You have to look at him that way. You know what I mean? It's a dude, man. Let me tell you something. You familiar with Jim Gaffigan?
Nah, that name, the last name sounds familiar.
Jim Gaffigan is funny, man. He's a casual, just a family kind of funny. He don't even cuss. You can't tell, but he's just a casual. You gotta check him out one day. He's funny. A mainstream comedy scene. He's a funny dude. Michael Jr. is a guy too that's like a funny sort of mainstream comedian, you know what I mean? But no, Dave and Chappelle definitely. Eddie Murphy.
Yeah,
1,000%.
So what's your next plans? Like, what do you see? How do you see your comedy evolving as you're still growing and getting into the thing? How do you see your comedy evolving?
You know what? I see it evolving in just in being presenting a perspective that's uncommon. I bring a perspective. I go on little rants and stuff a lot of times. I present a subject and then I sort of rant on it, which is not necessarily what we do all the time in urban comedy. So that's something I've been perfecting because I take a topic and then I just pile on top of that topic. And that's the thing I want to present right now, because I get to dance in both worlds for real. If you really grinding on your comedy grind, you don't have to be quote unquote urban comic or mainstream comic. Those are two different basically genres, you could say. But the fun part for me is being able to dance in both worlds. And I feel like a lot of times it takes some skill. You have to be like sort of committed to it. because it could be difficult at times because you know you got to feels like you turn your brain off this way and turn it on that way, but that's not what you got to do. What you got to do is just be fun. That's what you mean. You can do a whole you know general audience where it's a general audience, and you can do a whole room of the people. You know what I mean? And that's what you want to do. You want to be able to knock it down on each level. So that's fun. That's where I really get. I want to master that. That's my thing right now.
So I got a question. You got a joke about old folks, right? Right. So do you still have you turned into those people that say supper?
Listen, I'm gonna tell you something, Cole. Listen, I don't know where it came from. I never practiced it. I never took a class online, but all right, just start coming out my mouth. All right. I don't know when that shit started. It just started coming out. I don't like the kids with the box too loud. You know what I'm saying? The kids probably, hey, I'm doing he just turned into an old guy. Hey, turn that shit down. I'm like an old guy now, man. I got slippers, Cole. I come in the house, take my shoes off, and I got slippers. And when it was cold, I had a sweater. Listen, I love my house sweater. Babe, you see like doing shit like that.
Like Mr. Rogers.
Everyday sweater like Mr. Rogers. Yup. I come on.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
I was like, damn, babe, I feel like I'm getting old. I'm going to start asking for trousers and shit like that. You know, see my trousers? You know, old as shit doing that. So I'm like, yeah, some of that stuff it's slipped into me. You know what I mean? It slipped in. Nonsense. I say nonsense a lot now. It never was in my conversation. Foolishness. Those words don't hit you till you get, you know what I mean, over 40, 45.
Can you imagine you hear a 20-year-old saying, what is this foolishness?
Yeah, nah, that's the shit I'm saying. You know what I mean? It just started happening, didn't it, Cole? You just said, this is a bunch of foolishness. What is this nonsense? I just stuck my hand out the window and did one of these. Somebody cut me off. I was like, so you know that age creep up on you.
So you got kids. Hold on, I got one thing I wanted to ask you because the show's about to wrap up. What is it like? Because I know I've noticed, I've heard this several times. I've also seen it because I have a few friends that were I knew them before they were comedians when they were growing up. You know, actually knew Teray because I was around Temple a lot when I first started filmmaking too. And Spank, Kevin Hart used to come to Cheney a lot too. And I'm taller than him. So if he sees this, just know I'm taller than him. But somebody to ask you, the worst thing I thought was somebody to ask you is, say something funny. Like when you ain't working.
That stuff's not cool, Cole. You know that, right? You know it's not cool, man. You know what I mean? I'm at the movies with my daughter, you know, we watch popcorn, little kid, Little Mermaid, something, whatever we watching. They do, hey, say something funny, man. Listen, man, I'm with my baby girl. You say the girl with the titty. Hey, homie. Hey, people be at funerals, man, and they'll ask you, ask me stuff. And first of all, people disrespectful about funerals anyway, because you go to a funeral, people ask you, how was it? Isn't that the weirdest? Why would you ask me how was it? I don't know how it was. What am I supposed to say? Everybody was sharp. You know what I mean? There's a lot of chicks there. I don't know why. But people do ask you, be funny. You know what I mean? Your baptism. They talk about, say something funny. You know? Break, say some shit. Say some funny shit. I'm like,
yeah.
But
and they want it for free too. So you tell jokes for money, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Here, give me a quarter real quick. No, give me a dollar. Give me a dollar, quarter. The bums. Listen, begging went up. You know what I'm saying? They don't even ask for a quarter no more. Them niggas are talking about, hey man, you got a couple dollars. Damn.
It definitely has changed. You are definitely right about that.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna leave it on this. We gotta get ready to go. I gotta tell you. One day I gave a lady some food. I wasn't giving no money. I gave her some food, but it had hot sauce on the chicken. She gave me that shit back. Said, "Oh, this is too hot."
See that? See what I'm saying? Look, you homeless and bougie. See, we bougie about the wrong shit. You ever see people bougie about wings now? You know what I'm saying? How does classism fit with wings? You ever had people say they only eat flats? It's like people like I only eat the flats. That's what's up. This, man.
But look, we gotta do this again, man. I appreciate your time. I tell everybody about this, man. One of my sisters, she's my Zeta sister. She makes this stuff. I want you to check it out. Shop MMSB, Melanin Magic Shea Butter. Yo, I tell my wife, and my wife's probably watching. Every time she put it on, it's bound chicka wow wow. You know what I mean?
Snap.
And it's beautiful. Check that out. Also, check out the UPS on 3rd and Girard in Philly. It's a black-owned, military-owned UPS store. You know what I mean? So if you ever in Philly, you got to ship something, they'll send it. You know what I mean? So look, Brick, tell us where can we get at you at?
You can get at me on Ty Break Jamison on Facebook. You go to Mr. Break Comedy on IG. You can go to Break Jamison on Twitter, or Ty Jamison on Twitter. So you can just hit me up on there and don't go to my Pornhub. That's not me. That's not me. If that comes up, that's not me. I'm just saying. But no, you can just get at me, and I got a couple shows coming up, so keep your eyes peeled. Just go to my pages. I have them blasted, and you can come on out, and we can laugh and have shots or whatever.
All right, there it is, man.
Oh, much love, brother. Thank you for having me, bro.
Oh, thank you for coming, man. You won't be back. You know, you're a friend of the show. You family anyway, but you definitely is a friend of the show. So look, everybody, take it easy. Much love. Have a beautiful